Hey everybody, it's Jason Cree and you're watching The Lawn Care Life. Today I'm going to show you an unbelievable transformation on a yard that I took over several years ago, and I just pulled up and I thought, wow, this yard's really come a long way from what it was when I started. I'm going to show you some old clips and show you what it used to look like and give you a lot of tips and a lot of advice on how to help a yard in this situation. Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. They are a regular sponsor on the channel. If you want to use a spray tank like I do, then go to grahamsc.com and get in touch with those guys. All right, let me take you back and show you this yard several years ago. I'm gonna pull from an old YouTube video, and I'll put the link to that video in its entirety popping up on the screen toward the end of the video in case you want to watch it then. All right, so you see what it was to work with. In this situation, you know, thankfully it had Bermuda grass, which spreads very fast. And so in this situation, we didn't overseed or anything like that. Oftentimes you don't want to overseed Bermuda. You know, if you end up mixing some other kind of Bermuda, or you know, it needs to be hot if you're gonna seed it. And you can sod it if you want to, but oftentimes if there's even just a little bit of Bermuda, I encourage people to say, let's just fertilize it and watch it spread. And you'll be amazed at how fast it'll spread in one summer when the weather gets hot. All right, with that being said, here's the lawn now, and we're just going to do the best we can with these shadows. And I want to show you what it looks like today. And I just pulled up, and now we're in early May. We're still, you know, in springtime, not quite hit the summer hot weather yet. I'm gonna fertilize today, so the color's gonna improve, but you see, you know, there's still a slight imperfections here or there, but overall this yard is night and day difference, you know. And I want to make another point. You know, when you look at it, this yard I don't think was ever sodded, so it's common Bermuda. It's not going to be quite as awesome as it would be if it was a better quality Bermuda grass. It could be, you know, grows a little tighter and could be manicured, but even without being sodded, you look at it, it's still a very presentable yard, and you know, it looks great, I think. Now there was some sodded parts over here. Again, it's shaded, so it's a little bit hard to see with the shadows. But you know, you can tell a little bit difference. If I'm here looking at it, I can tell what was sodded and what was just the common Bermuda. But again, it just shows you how a yard can recover. Now, when it comes to, you know, multiple grass types and having to deal with that, I want to talk about that a minute, because if you'll look here, as the Bermuda then turns into centipede here, okay? And over here, as I get on this side of the lawn, you got pretty much all centipede. And I like seeing how well this centipede is looking. Again, it's you know, doing great for centipede grass in our area. So really pleased to see that. And not only that, as I come over here, and this is just some of the things you deal with when you're in a lawn business. You just end up with different kind of grasses in the yard, and you know, people plant what they want to plant, and they don't always ask my opinion before they do it. But you make the best of what you can. So what it looks like to me is that they got a huge oak tree here, and somebody, you know, at some point planted a bunch of cool season grasses in here. Well, I hadn't been worried too much about getting rid of those, but our best warm season option for shade is typically going to be zoysia. And so as you get over here on this side, you got zoysia mixed in here. Let me let you see it, because it color's not that great. You still got some brown spots. They ain't quite kicked into full growing mode from, you know, for the hot weather. I think it'll improve a lot, and with today's fertilizer it'll make a big difference as well. But you can see, dealing with zoysia, Bermuda, you know, hybrid Bermuda over here in one spot, common Bermuda for most of the yard, and centipede all in the same yard. It's not an ideal situation, but you can see that you can still have a very presentable yard without scraping the whole thing down and resodding it. So what can we learn from this? Well, again, if you want just a perfect yard, scrape it down, spray it, whatever, and resod the whole yard, okay? In this situation, when you've got some shade from the big oak tree, probably zoysia would be your best bet if you wanted to redo the whole yard. But to save you a lot of money, you just start putting fertilizer on it, get the weeds under control, and watch the Bermuda spread. Now, Bermuda's never gonna do great underneath that big tree, so I think they did a smart thing by putting zoysia over there, and that zoysia was already there. The other side has centipede already on it. I'm just managing that the best I can. Now, from a lawn care perspective, what do you do when you got zoysia grass and you got Bermuda grass, you got centipede all on the same lawn? Well, sometimes you have to go with kind of the least common denominator, if you will. If there's a product that you're gonna use that is safe on Bermuda and zoysia, but not safe on centipede, then I may not wanna use that product rather. I may need to use a product that's safe on centipede, which would also then be safe on Bermuda and zoysia. Or you just treat it almost like two separate yards. You take the parts that Bermuda and zoysia and treat it, fertilize it accordingly, and use the products that you want to use on it, and then the part that's centipede, because it usually takes less fertilizer, different herbicides, more sensitive to herbicides. Now I'm basically going to treat it like a separate program. So in this situation, having a split tank helps a lot, so when I'm spraying early in the year Preemergent, I've got a centipede St. Augustine blend on the left side, so just maybe atrazine and a little bit of Preemergent, and on the right side I've got atrazine, Preemergent, and also a product called Triplet to kill the weeds, and that's something I don't use on the centipede and St. Augustine yards. Now, if you got a situation where you've got some centipede creeping into your Bermuda like we have here, then I may go ahead and use, just treat it like a Bermuda grass, because basically in this situation, oftentimes the centipede will creep over into the Bermuda, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm okay if I beat up this little section of centipede, because ultimately I would like to keep it from taking over the Bermuda, and I'd like for the Bermuda to take over it if possible. But the other side over there that's almost all centipede, then I'm just going to treat it like a centipede yard. So that's my advice. Hopefully you learned something. If you got questions, comments, leave them below. Give it a thumbs up. I will talk to you guys later. If you're in the lawn business, go over to lawncarelife.com and check out the resources available for you there, whether you're mowing or looking to get into mowing or get into weed control and fertilization. Lots of options available for you there. Talk to you guys later. Bye.